What if a beloved childhood movie secretly taught you an ancient spiritual truth? From the forests of Totoro to a paradox that defies mathematics, Shinto's deepest mystery is hiding in plain sight.
What is the truth about Shinto, the way of the kami? How does a belief system with no holy book and no absolute commandments continue to quietly govern the soul of one of the world's most advanced nations?
The truth is hidden deep within Japan's whispering woods. It is a profound paradox, a spirituality that defies every Western definition of religion, operating not through rigid dogmas, but through an invisible, unspoken connection to the natural world.
If you search for the founding prophet of Shinto, or seek out its equivalent to the Bible or the Quran, you will find absolutely nothing. So how did an entire belief system take root without a single architect?
Unlike Western religions, Shinto originated organically. It blossomed during Japan's ancient Jomon period, tens of thousands of years ago. It wasn't invented by a prophet. It simply grew out of the early Japanese people's awe and fear of the unpredictable natural forces surrounding them.
If there are no commandments threatening divine punishment, how did this ancient worldview survive the test of time? What kept generations of people returning to these silent forests?
They returned because they didn't see the forest as just timber and leaves. Shinto is fundamentally an animistic lens. It views the entire world, mountains, rivers, wind, and even rocks, as living, breathing entities possessing their own distinct spiritual energy.
When the ancient Japanese looked at a towering waterfall or a massive ancient cedar, they didn't just see a natural wonder, they saw a presence. What exactly were they worshiping?
They were worshiping kami. Often translated poorly as gods, kami are better understood as nature spirits or sacred essences. They are not all-powerful creators dwelling in the sky. They are the awe-inspiring phenomena of the earth itself, woven directly into the fabric of reality.
If every mountain, river, and storm possesses a sacred essence, just how crowded is the spiritual landscape of Japan? How many of these kami actually exist?
The ancient Japanese coined the phrase Yao Yorozu no Kami, which literally translates to 8 million gods. But in ancient times, 8 million was simply synonymous with countless or infinite. There is no limit. Every everyday element of nature is teeming with unseen life.
For those outside of Japan, the concept of a towering, silent forest spirit might sound like a fantasy. But what if this ancient animistic lens has already been popularized globally, right under our noses?
It has through the masterful animation of Studio Ghibli. In the 1988 classic My Neighbor Totoro, the titular character is not a monster or an alien. Totoro is a traditional Shinto kami. He is the living spirit of the camphor tree, deeply rooted in authentic Japanese folklore.
If these spirits are invisible to the naked eye, how do the Japanese people know where the mundane world ends and the sacred space of a kami begins?
They use architectural markers. A shimenawa, a thick, braided straw rope adorned with zigzagging white paper, is tied around sacred trees or rocks to denote the presence of a kami. And the iconic vermilion torii gates act as magical portals, separating the secular world from the divine.
With torii gates standing in busy intersections and shrines tucked between modern skyscrapers, you have to wonder, in a highly secular, technologically advanced society, how many people actually practice this ancient faith? According to Japan's Agency for Cultural Affairs, the numbers are staggering. There are approximately 87 million registered Shinto adherents. But here is the catch. There are also 84 million registered Buddhists. Combined, that is over 170 million religious believers. How can a government agency report over 170 million registered religious believers when the entire population of Japan is only 124 million people? Where did these phantom millions come from?
They aren't phantoms. The mathematical impossibility is the result of a profound cultural reality, dual practice. The vast majority of Japanese people identify as both Shinto and Buddhist simultaneously. They celebrate birth at a Shinto shrine and mourn death at a Buddhist temple.
When a foreign religion enters a new land, history usually writes a story of blood, conquest, and forced conversion.
So what happened when Buddhism arrived on the shores of Japan around 538 CE?
Instead of a holy war, Japan experienced a spiritual marriage. The native Japanese didn't reject the Buddha. They simply viewed him as another very powerful kami. The two faiths began to intertwine, sharing temple grounds, rituals, and followers in a seamless blend. As the centuries passed, the lines between the whispering woods of Shinto and the enlightened path of Buddhism completely dissolved. What did this ultimate spiritual fusion look like in practice?
It was known as Shinbutsu Shugo. For over a millennium, Shinto and Buddhism were not separate faiths. They were a single, inseparable religion. Shinto kami were reimagined as the local protectors of Buddhist deities, and Buddhist monks chanted sutras in front of Shinto shrines.
If this hybrid religion brought peace and unity to the Japanese people for over 1,000 years, what force was powerful enough and ruthless enough to sever the kami from the Buddha? The fracture came from within. In 1868, the new Meiji government took power and issued the Shinbutsu Bunri, a strict legal order demanding the complete separation of Shinto and Buddhism. They dispatched agents across the country to physically tear the two faiths apart. Tearing apart a 1,000-year-old religion is no small task. Buddhist statues were burned and hybrid temples were destroyed. What was the political endgame behind inventing a pure, isolated version of Shinto?
It was a masterstroke of political engineering. The government needed to unify a fractured Japan into a modern empire. By stripping away Buddhism, they weaponized Shinto, elevating the emperor from a political figurehead to a living kami, a divine ruler demanding absolute obedience.
When the dust settled after the World Wars, state Shinto was dismantled. Yet, the Japanese people still flocked to the shrines. What was the indestructible philosophical core that outlived the political manipulation?
It is a concept that drastically separates Shinto from Western theology. In Shinto, there is no original sin. There is no concept of humans being born flawed or wicked. Instead, human beings are viewed as inherently good, pure, and connected to the divine nature around them.
If Shinto rejects the idea of original sin and believes humanity is inherently good, how does it explain the existence of evil, malice, and suffering in the world?
Evil is not a permanent stain on the soul. It is an external spiritual dirt, known as kagare, meaning pollution or defilement. Bad deeds, disease, and death act like mud that clings to a person's pure spirit. Because it is external, it is not permanent.
If a person becomes weighed down by the spiritual pollution of modern life, how do they return to their natural pure state? What is the Shinto equivalent of seeking forgiveness?
You don't seek forgiveness, you seek purification. Through a practice called misogi, believers wash away the kegare. This can be as intense as standing under a freezing waterfall, or as simple as rinsing your hands and mouth at a shrine's water pavilion before praying. In Western philosophy, humans are often viewed as the masters of the earth, tasked with conquering and taming the wild. But how does this animistic, purity-driven faith view our place in the ecosystem?
Shinto rejects the hierarchy of man over nature. We are not masters, nor are we mere servants. We are a biological and spiritual thread woven directly into the fabric of the environment. When we pollute the earth, we are literally polluting our own souls.
If there is no heaven to earn and no hell to avoid, what is the ultimate goal of a Shinto practitioner? What state of existence are they striving for every time they bow at a shrine?
They are striving for kanagara. This profound philosophy translates to the way of the kami. It is the state of living in effortless, intuitive harmony with the flow of the natural world, accepting the cycles of life, death, and seasons without resistance. Why do 170 million people in a highly secular nation still engage with a faith that offers no strict rules, no holy book, and no central prophet? What does it give them that modern society cannot? It offers a profound sense of belonging to the earth. In a modern world defined by digital isolation and concrete cities, Shinto provides a quiet, sensory tether to our ancestral roots. It is a reminder that we are never truly alone when the woods are alive.
As Japan rapidly modernized, becoming a global powerhouse of technology and industry, why wasn't this ancient, nature-worshipping tradition swept away into the dustbin of history like so many others?
Because Shinto never fought against progress. Rooted in the concept of kanagara, flowing with reality, it simply adapted. The kami didn't retreat from the cities, they allowed the cities to be built around them. Shrines integrated seamlessly into skyscrapers, proving that nature and progress can coexist.
So, when we strip away the political history, the demographic confusion, and the Western definitions of what a religion should be, what is the ultimate truth of Shinto?
Japan boasts a mathematical impossibility. Over 170 million registered religious believers in a country of only 124 million people. This paradox reveals the heart of Shinto, an ancient, scriptureless spirituality that seamlessly merged with Buddhism for over a millennium. Rather than a rigid religion of moral sin and divine punishment, Shinto is an animistic lens, popularized globally by Studio Ghibli, that views humans as inherently pure and nature as a living, breathing entity. At its core is Kanagara, a philosophy of living in effortless harmony with the whispering woods.
As humanity faces unprecedented environmental destruction, can a belief system born tens of thousands of years ago in the isolated forests of Japan offer a blueprint for our global survival?
Yes, Shinto offers a profound ecological antidote to the modern world's climate crisis. It teaches us that the earth is not a resource to be exploited, but a sacred living organism to be revered. If we can learn to see the kami in the whispering woods, we might just save ourselves. We started by asking, Shinto, the way of the kami, the whispering woods, decoding the... And the answer? Japan boasts a mathematical impossibility. Over 170 million registered religious believers in a country of only 124 million people. This paradox reveals the heart of Shinto, an ancient, scriptureless spirituality that seamlessly merged with Buddhism for over a millennium. If this changed how you see things, share it with someone who needs to hear it.